My name is Suzi Grishpul. I'm the product manager for Action Builder here at Action Network. Um, Action Network is a nonprofit organization that is building tools for hundreds of organizations to build progressive power. Action Builder in particular is developed through our cooperative development process with our partners, the AFL-CIO, People's Action, and the Movement Voter Project. So what that means is that we work collaboratively with affiliate groups within these umbrella organizations to really make sure we're building these tools based on our users' experiences and building features that organizers need to do their work the best. All right, so just a little bit of overview. Um, Obviously, the main event for today is we're going to be talking about my favorite 6 features of 2025, going through those. Spoiler, because I'm bad at keeping secrets, I actually have a bonus feature kind of thing that I'll talk about after I go through that list. Um, then we'll talk a little bit about some stuff that I'm excited about that's coming in 2026, and we'll have some time at the end for Q&A. One thing to note is that we like to make these webinars interactive. So at different points throughout this presentation, there'll be some fun audience questions, which you can respond to by going to menti.com, either on your computer or on your phone, and enter in this code 51672887. And Jeff just dropped that information in the chat as well. So and yeah, if you're enjoying the presentation, and once you join, you'll see a thumbs up. You can throw some likes in there, and we'll have some other fun questions later on. Yeah, just like that. All right. Without further ado, let's dive into Susie's Super Six. So this list is kind of spanning a lot of different things we've released. Some of these are pretty major features, some of them are on the smaller side, but they were all things that I feel like contribute to making your work as organizers more efficient and impactful. All right, starting off, number 6. Um, so we released a feature this year that allows you to create a task from the wall chart. So instead of going into tasks, doing your querying from there, you can do all your other list pulling on the wall chart and take that list and turn it directly into a task. This was based on some feedback that we got that tasks feels a little disjointed from other parts of the tool. And so this is hopefully a workflow improvement to get you using tasks more, incorporating it into other parts of your work. So this is important because the tasks feature allows you to set specific goals that you want to do with folks that you're reaching out to. Let's say you want to pull a list of everyone who engaged with a campaign in some way by sharing a story or taking a photo or sharing something on social media, and you want to do a phone or text bank to reach out to all those folks to thank them and maybe make another ask or collect additional information. So now you can do all that from the wall chart, which is pretty cool. All right. Number 5. So number 5 is adding connections when creating a new entity. So when you're creating a new entity, person, organization, etc., depending on how you have your action builder set up, you have the option, or the admins or leads on your campaigns have the option to customize the form of information that you collect when you're creating that new person in your campaign. We got some feedback that when adding new people, in addition to adding information about that person, it's also really helpful to add any connections that you might have for them. So, for example, if you're adding someone new and you know they have an affiliation with a community group or a church, or they have a relationship with a family member, things like that, you can capture that immediately. So you're bringing that context in from the get-go, and it avoids having an extra step when after you add them in. You can also do affiliations to organizations, like I said, and this helps by saving time, less clicks, and makes it easier to accurately reflect the whole network of folks that you're organizing, which, as we all know, is a big part of building power. And Jeff is dropping links in the chat to help docs um, that will give you more information about how to use all these features, because I'm not doing too much demo on this call, just kind of talking about things. All right. Coming up next, number 4. So previously we only had one field for adding someone's preferred language on their entity profile. We got feedback that obviously people speak many languages, and we want to be able to reflect that in their profiles. So now we have an additional feature where you can specify all the different languages that person speaks and also indicate what their preferred language is. So obviously we want to be able to reflect the real world multilingual contexts that we're organizing in. And this will also allow you to be more targeted in your organizing, so that you can send people who speak that language out to organize folks and make things more um, respectful and appropriate. So talking about this feature leads us to our first audience question. So I'm curious to hear from you all. Other than English, what languages do your members prefer to communicate in? Go ahead and go to menti.com if you're not there yet. And let's see, we've got 2 responses so far. Let's wait and get a few more responses in. All right, French and Spanish, which I assumed were going to be the most popular ones. Um, Anything else? Any other languages folks are working in your campaigns? Got Spanish in the chat. Yep. Cool. Portuguese. That makes sense. All right. Thanks everyone who played along with that activity. And be sure to let us know if you end up using this feature, how it's working out for you. All right, going back to my list. So coming in at number 3, we added a new view to the wall chart. So now in addition to the default list view and the chart view and the map view, we also have something that we're calling trend view. So this allows you to, currently it only works for assessments. I'll talk about that in a second. But it allows you to visualize how your assessments are shifting over time. So you can set the date range that you're looking at. You can also set the periods that you're looking at. So if you want to look at it week by week or month by month or year by year. And it also has the option for either seeing just activity that's happening in each discrete period or looking at your cumulative totals over time. So this is really helpful for showing campaign momentum, showing campaign growth, noticing where there might be some slowdowns or some shifting sentiments among people, and is really helpful for your campaign strategy and thinking about where you want to put your efforts moving forward and see how those efforts are turning out. Like I said, this feature is only available for assessments right now. So whatever the assessment scale is that you have defined for Action Builder. Um, but we are considering rolling this feature out for other data points in Action Builder as well. So info fields, things like that. Um, which leads me to my next audience question, which is what are some other trends that um, you might want to track using this tool in the future? Oh, where did the code go? I guess I have a QR code on this one. You can use the QR code or you can go to menti.com and use the code at the top. Let's see what we got. Event attendance. I hide that QR code because it's going to block things. Yeah, definitely. So looking at, if you're having regular events, being able to tell maybe which months are more popular for event turnouts, things like that. Member engagement, authorization cards is a common one we've gotten feedback on. Yep, just being able to track numbers on those things and seeing how those things are going. All right, last call. Any other data points you can think of? All right. Well, if you haven't had a chance to play around with TrendView, please go ahead and try it out. And yeah, let me know if you think of other things you might want to use it for in the future. Letters to legislation or to legislators. Yeah, for sure. Just counting the number of letters you were able to send over time. Great. All right. And number two, you may have noticed that Action Builder got a redesign. I think it was over the summer. I can't remember what is time. um, we moved around the navigation. It's all now on the left-hand side. Um, and the reason we did that was so that we could use more vertical space, so there's less scrolling constantly throughout the different pages. We also made a lot of improvements for the mobile view, so buttons are bigger and easier to click on, things are easier to find, stuff like that. And perhaps most importantly, we made a lot of improvements to accessibility features. So for folks using different screen readers or different devices to make Action Builder accessible, the color contrast, things like that for people with visual impairments, lots of different little changes like that to meet industry standards for accessibility. So these things obviously matter because, like I said, we're trying to reduce the number of clicks as you're navigating the tool, that reduce the amount of scrolling that you have to do to find the information that you're looking for. And we're also thinking about making it as accessible as possible for folks and less visually overwhelming. So If you have been using Action Builder since we did the redesign, I would love to know which aspect of the redesign has helped you most. Got four options. Uh, the change to the navigation, the the ways in which we've reduced scrolling and clicking, making it more mobile friendly. And this is an anonymous survey. You can totally be honest with us if you didn't even really notice that we did a redesign this year. All right, got to vote for navigation, vote for less scrolling, likes. All right, navigation's coming in the lead. Oh, another vote for navigation. Big lead there. Happy to hear it. All right. And without further ado, number one, in my opinion, major feature that we released for Action Builder this year is something we're calling universal fields. So, in case you haven't had a chance to play around with this just yet, what this means is you can now create fields that can be, the data in those fields can be shared across campaigns on entities as long as the field is enabled on all of those different campaigns. So this is really helpful for um, information that needs to travel with that entity across the different campaigns, whether it's demographic information or like in this example, information about their union affiliations, things like that. Um, with this with this feature, our goal is to eliminate duplicated work or mismatched fields or data messiness, and yeah, just make it a lot easier for people to see information that should be shared, um, regardless of which campaign they're in. All right, so that's my top six. Curious to hear from you all. Of the ones that I read off today, which one is your favorite new feature from 2025? Go ahead and cast your votes. See what the fan favorite is. Someone like the design, trend view, another vote for trend view. Universal Fields got a vote in there. Spoken languages. Yep. Well, they're all getting a lot of love, which I'm happy to see. All right, last call for the audience vote. Looks like trend view is our winner for audience favorite. That's great. Yeah, I'm definitely excited about the developments to trend view that I talked about earlier. So keep an eye out for that. All right. And as I promised, there is a bonus update that I'm excited to talk about a little bit. So for folks watching who are either data analysts or engineers or data generalists at your organization, um, maybe you've worked with our SQL Mirror before, maybe you've it's been too much of a mystery, but we're excited to share that we now have public documentation on the SQL Mirror. So there's some information in there about how to get set up with the SQL Mirror, documentation about all the different tables in your Action Builder database, some examples of queries, a change log so that you can kind of keep on top of when changes might get made that might break any dashboards or other external integrations that you've built. Um, so we're really excited to have this. It also is searchable, which is cool, because a lot of times things in the database might not quite match up with what things are called in the UI. So there's a lot of good stuff in there, and this is being maintained by our engineering team. So anytime something changes in our database, the SQL Mirror documentation will be updated alongside that. So you can trust that it's always going to be up to date, which is great. All right. So looking ahead to 2026, there's a few things that we've got in the works that I'm excited to give you a sneak preview of. One is that we are adding multi-factor authentication or two-step authentication, as it's sometimes called, to Action Builder so that you can enable an extra level of security to your logins, to your accounts. This will have options for either SMS, text, or using an authentication app like Google Authenticator. Um, and you'll be able to turn it on if you're an admin for users across your entire instance and either make it required or optional. So we are hoping that will be helpful in meeting security standards that your organizations might have, or just generally having better security practices, as this is kind of becoming an industry standard, as you may know. Another thing that we are currently working on is adding events to the Action Network Action Builder sync. So the first step of this is going to be syncing event RSVPs from Action Network to Action Builder. So what this means is you'll be able to have people RSVP themselves via form in Action Network and automatically sync those into Action Builder to then do your follow-up confirmations and attendance tracking and the next steps in event management. So really excited about that. And if you haven't already played around with the events feature, or if you're waiting for this for events to be added to the sync to start using it. Um, yeah, we're really excited about the opportunities that's going to open up for folks. And the last kind of big-ish thing that I wanted to preview coming in 2026, we are going to have a campaign overview um, area in Action Builder. So this will be a place to see your overall campaign progress, see task completion numbers, things like that, a preview of recent activity, and then also the ability to create campaign-wide notes. So, you can put information for your organizers there on best practices or, just notes on how to use Action Builder. You'll also be able to upload files. So if there's other resources you want to point people to, you can have that all in one place when folks log in. So that's going to be cool. All right. So if you have already tried some of these features and you want to learn more, or if you haven't tried them yet and you want to dive in, there's a lot of ways you can learn more. You can sign up for a demo or for one of our weekly trainings. Thanks, Jeff, for dropping the links to all those things in the chat. You can check out our documentation that goes into further detail on all the things that I covered today. And if you're interested, if you're not currently an Action Builder user and you're interested in becoming one, please get in touch with our partnerships team to either start using it or get more folks on your team in your account. All right. So we wanted to make sure we had some time for Q&A. So we will open it up to that. And I think I'll just stop sharing my screen and see what Q&A questions folks have. Or I guess just questions. Redundant. Burning questions. What have you got? All right. We've got one question from Carol. Um, Thank you so much for your question, Carol. So Carol asks what is the difference between Action Network and Action Builder? So the way I like to describe it to folks is that Action Network is more of your broad mobilizing tool. So, when you're emailing your big list of supporters or members, um, or asking people to participate in actions or events on a bigger scale, that is the type of thing that you're doing in Action Network. And then Action Builder is our organizing tool. So when you're tracking more of those one-to-one relationships, tracking leadership development with people, and really kind of and tracking the like social networks that you have between people within your network, that's when you would want to use Action Builder to map out more of that. We have a sync between the tools, like I mentioned. So you can have, people who sign up for your email list, for example, get synced up to Action Builder so you can follow up and engage them more personally. Or, sync people back vice versa. If you have people coming to events that you want to capture, and then make sure they get added to your email list or your text blast list, things like that. The two work hand in hand, but that's how I would describe the difference between those two. Thank you. Thanks, Jen. Yes, that is a great blog post talking about building a mobilizing to organizing pipeline, as we like to call it. All right, we had a question from Ben. Hi, Ben. I feel like I'm on like a radio show. On universal field, can that be applied to an existing field, like to change it over? That is a really good question. Unfortunately, because of how the database is set up, you can't convert standard fields to universal fields. So you will have to create a new field and maybe export your data from Action Builder and then re-upload it to the universal field if you want to transfer it over or something like that. Yeah, good question. Laura asked, are we going to be sending links for demos and trainings by email? Absolutely, yes. We will be sending a follow-up email to all of you, and we'll have all these different links handy right there for you. Oh, thanks, Jeff. What else? What other questions do folks have? Yeah, definitely forward those emails. And there will also be a recording of this webinar, so you will be able to forward that along to people as well. All right. Well, oh, you're so welcome. Yeah, thank you all so much for joining. I just want to give a big shout out to the Action Builder team, our engineers, our designers, our amazing impact support team for making this tool so great. And yeah, and also wanted to give a shout out to our development partners, folks at AFL-CIO, People's Action, and Movement Voter Project for bringing us that crucial feedback to make sure that what we're building is grounding in your work. And thank you all for coming to this webinar. I know we're in the home stretch of the year and we're all just trying to make it to the holidays. So I appreciate you coming and yeah, learning a little bit more about what we've been up to this year. So with that, thank you so much and hope you all have a safe and restful rest of your year. Take care.